All right, I'm gonna call the Village of Cross Plains Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee, November 5th, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Paul Barth,
Here.
Tim Hillebrand,
Here.
Dave Mickleg,
Here.
Lauren Savord, Michael Pomykowski, Jay Langfeld.
Here, Michael just
walked in.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Yep.
So public comment is an opportunity for anyone to address the Finance Advisory Enhancement Committee. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes. While the Finance Advisory Enhancement Committee encourages input from residents that may not discuss or act any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. Please make note that Trustee Michael has arrived. So I don't think there's anybody on. Is there anybody on?
Tammy from Ellers.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if we'll want to move her up in general business.
Oh,
okay.
Sure. For reports, I don't have anything to add that's not on the agenda. How about committee members? Anybody? Anything?
Nothing for today.
All right, perfect. Finance director.
I guess we'll just say we're hopefully wrapping the budget up. We have a special board meeting on Monday, the 10th, to hopefully nail it down. And then we'll do a public hearing on the 24th and hopefully pass it. I don't know. It's
Well, the 10th.
There's always challenges, and we're getting in some of the levy information from the other jurisdictions, and that's delightful to say the least.
Surprises in either direction?
Huh?
Are there surprises in either direction?
Well, the school must be a pretty big increase.
It's yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
For some reason.
It's not pretty.
No, the state, and my neighbor is Bob Green, who's on the board. So this summer, what the state did, it basically allows the school districts.
It's $3.25 per student or something.
Yeah, something like that. But instead of giving them the money, they're raising their levy limit to that amount. So the state is saying, yeah, go ahead, you can go get that from us instead of us paying more per student. That's how they got around more funding for students.
So
it's not money from the state, it's from us.
From taxpayers.
Yeah.
Thousands of students.
Yes.
$3 per.
Yeah. It's so I figured it was going to be a healthy one. He didn't tell me the exact number, obviously, but I said, well, that's just great. Another way of.
So do you want me to break the news to you, or do you want to break your night?
No, I don't really want to know.
Okay.
Yeah, I just said, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, last year it was 16%, and I'm sure it's pretty close to that. Higher.
Just a little higher.
Yeah, they just.
The mics are hooked up.
Mics aren't hooked up.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
it's not coming on anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, that's it.
Okay, so let's go to general business. Do I have a motion to move item 5 to the first item, since we have an expert with us on this
I
one?
motion to move item 5 to item 1, if I remember it is.
Yeah, move it up to the top.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. So we're at discussion and possible action regarding Ellers Investment Management Services proposal. I'll turn it over to you, Bob.
This is it. Tammy, I don't know if you want to jump in or.
Yeah, thank you again for your time tonight. My name is Tammy Oshevsky. You're probably used to seeing Greg Johnson from Ellers. So you're familiar with Ellers as a firm. One component of our services that we wanted to present to you was our debt proceeds management. So part of the reason this conversation is happening now is as a result of your upcoming debt issuance. So part of our process in the early phases of your issuance is really, Greg and I had some conversations about what your spending targets look like or what your project plan appears to show. And we suggested to Bobby, as well as the group here, that we look at investment management that really looks at the overall picture of from debt issuance, you get the funds, and then investment of those proceeds. So one of the ways that you as a municipality can actually get a little bit of extra interest income is by investing the proceeds into something that is a fixed rate of return. It gets you that predictability of income while also ensuring that you have a partner, if you will. So the investment services that we provide really gives you that expertise and guidance on which investments might be most advantageous, while also considering the compliance components of debt issuance. So we did go through this. That first page that I have there for you is really just a summary of our services. So we work with your team to just develop a plan and a process for your debt issuance. When you get those funds, you get them as a lump sum. And of course, there are some IRS requirements that go into issuing tax exempt debt obligations. One of them is called arbitrage. So you actually will qualify for some exceptions on this issuance. And we started looking even in the future as part of your debt management process at what this could look like. And there are some opportunities that you can take advantage of with the investment of these proceeds so that you can perhaps use the income towards project overages or even to reduce future borrowing costs. So because you have a pretty substantial project going on, or that will be going on, one of the things that Greg and I had discussed was really how this would work within your own policies as well as state statutes, while also perhaps being a future benefit. So when we start thinking about your actual investment vehicles, everything that we provide is statutorily approved or permissible. So there are Wisconsin statutes that limit the investment types that you can actually place your investments in. So we look across the various vehicles, look to see that it matches within your policy as well as those statutes. And we develop a plan for you so that you can build that predictable income. Now, you haven't finalized your project plans yet. So what I did do is put together just a summary of what it could look like based upon some of the other municipal governments that we work with. It's not uncommon for us to see quarterly withdrawals or draws that are specific to a project plan. But for purposes of today's discussion, I thought it was important to just be able to showcase for you what the income potential, even on a conservative approach, looks like. One of the graphics that you see on that next page really is just an example. So none of this is actual. We base this all based upon current treasury yields available in the market. So there are a variety of investment vehicles you can choose from, but we really just, for today's purposes, based it on treasury securities. We work with your local banking partners. We work with a custodial provider that can actually hold investments beyond your local bank, as well as track some of the reporting obligations that you'll have on your arbitrage compliance all in one place. So we try to make it as efficient as possible and easy for your team. But for purposes of today, I just want to showcase for you that the income that we are estimating is based on quarterly withdrawals, and it's going to be just under $100,000 net to you. And that is net of any fees that we charge on our platform. To give you an idea of from a fee standpoint, just the actual dollars, we did include for you what the total income is, as well as the total fees. Again, this is based upon this drop schedule. You may actually see more income than this. This is just very conservative for estimating. And then the fees themselves, if it spends a little bit longer, you might see a little bit of a difference in that fee. If you spend it quicker, you'll see less of a fee. So it works with the income as well as the fees, but ultimately, just as an example for you, when we built this out, you're going to see that net income, and this is on fixed income securities. So regardless of the actual investments that are placed, we anticipate you'll see well around that $100,000 amount. One of the things that we will look to is ensure that you have sufficient liquidity to cover those project expenses as they come up, but also if your project gets behind schedule, you can always reinvest in additional securities, which adds to the income amount. And if you kind of scroll to that last page there, that's just the two people that you will probably see most often would be myself and then my arbitrage manager. And he and I work together when we build these plans out so we can identify any issues before you actually issue the debt. So as you go through this process, now your next step is approval of the debt issuance essentially. But even during this process, Greg and I and Steve have had the conversations about what some of these project plans would look like and how this would impact you. So we continue to monitor that from the beginning all the way through the final spending of the project. Ultimately, like I said, we look to keep you compliant, efficient, as well as having all of the tools and resources at your disposal so that you can make some informed decisions. And again, the reason I bring this up, as you go through this process, you can make you can certainly place your investments across different investment vehicles. For us, I don't sell any one particular product. It's really the over-encompassing services, and then we work with your team to ensure that they're placed. We do look to a lot of the regional, national, as well as local banks so that from a competitive standpoint, you're getting the best rate available to you in the market, regardless of where you actually hold the funds. So I want to make sure you guys have all of the information to make some informed decisions. Do you have questions about the process or the services that we provide?
I guess we got Paul and then myself.
Yeah, so
Sure.
I read through this and I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. This is an offer to manage the proceeds.
No, we're gonna borrow, like, this year, we're gonna borrow $3 million.
Right?
Okay, so what they're saying is, we're not gonna spend that right away,
Yeah.
right? Because you do it, so yes, they would be managing the $3 million until we spend it.
In the absence of this, how would we manage this?
You want to put into CDs most likely, or?
Yeah, or like we have an insured cash sweep, probably that. Just
And what is the interest rate on that?
right around 4.
And are there any fees on that?
Okay, they're very well.
Or they would, on the statement we get from the bank, it just shows the interest earned. I'm not sure if there's a net of any fee, but I don't think there's a fee.
Because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
Your bank probably takes that as a earnings credit. So just to give you an idea of our program we're not trying to compete with the bank. The key here is that your bank rate that they offer is traditionally a variable rate on liquid funds.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing in the market is a decline in some of these longer term products. So when you look at if you look at that schedule, you'll see that those rates are kind of in the mid 3.5, 3.67. The reason for that is we expect the rates to continue to decline. So cash-like rates right now are elevated. They're well over 4% for the most part. 3-month treasury bills start to decline once you get kind of past that initial cash amount, and anything beyond that has started to come down. Now, you may place these funds at your local bank, LGIP, which is a local government investment pool. They're variable products. It is liquid, so that satisfies one component of the investment management process. The missing piece is really that fixed or predictable income. So if rates continue to decline across your project plan, you won't have a lot of that predictability of income. Now, your local bank actually may provide some CD rates that would be attractive. And one of the things that Bobby and I had discussed is you can still work with your local banking partners within our platform, and we do quote out your rates. So when we place the actual investments, so one component that I heard a question on, you actually get all of the money at once when you issue this debt. And then during the time between when you get it and spend it, if you will, for your project, you can invest in a variety of securities. So we try to match your maturities on those investments to the project schedule or the estimated schedule. And each of those investment vehicles, it doesn't have to all be in one place. It's a little bit more efficient for you, but in any case, one of the things that we do a little bit differently is we actually bid out your investments across a nationwide network to try to get you the best yield at the time available in the market. And of course, it is a fixed rate of return that we look to versus a variable rate.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, but good question.
When you have on your pie chart, commercial paper and agency securities, can you give me a definition of what those are?
Of course. And so under statute, these are just an example of securities that are available. Traditionally, like a commercial paper would be an ultra short. We look to 30-day commercial paper rates, it's corporate securities that are highly rated and under a certain amount of time. So we traditionally, if we use them in a portfolio, it's for the extremely short end of the maturity schedule. If we look at agencies, those are US government agency debt. So just like you can issue debt like bonds or notes, the US government issues treasuries and their agencies issue debt obligations just like you. So we actually will go pick up the debt from other municipalities with certain rating requirements or government debt as well. So government agency is what that really represents there. And then US treasuries would be a variety from T-bills on the short term to treasury bonds if it fit into the maturity schedule. And then we do also buy certificates of deposit, which are just CDs, just like through your local bank. It's a marketable product. So if we needed to liquidate something ahead of maturity, we can do so without any penalty. That's one of the distinctions, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Anybody else?
Did she say they can liquidate without penalty?
Yeah.
Okay, that was one of the questions. We need money before the 6 month.
The CD part is.
Oh, the CD part.
Yeah.
And just to give you an idea too, each of the holdings within an investment portfolio like this, it is in the name of the village. And at any point, just like on your personal investment, you can go sell or buy something, they're all marketable. So the holdings within the portfolio are marketable to the point where if you needed to go out to the market and sell something ahead of maturity to raise funds to cover a project expense, we can do that for you. And you do run the risk, and I always put the caveat on here, the actual holdings do fluctuate in value day to day. If you hold it to maturity, you still get the face value. So the day-to-day fluctuations do not have a direct impact on you. But if you sold it ahead of maturity, we do go out to the prevailing market price. But no penalty, I guess is what I should say.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much, Tammy, for joining us this evening. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Of course. And if questions come up after I get off the call, just let Bobby know. She can always reach out to me. Part of this too, and I should also add to this, as it goes through this process, and the reason we're doing this now is we do look to ensure that before you close on your debt in December, you have a plan in place just for holding the funds and getting them invested. This particular component, I think if you are looking at, this debt portion, you have a little bit shorter term or spend down plan currently, but as you go into the next year, I think it's going to become really important for you to have that predictability of income so that you can start planning for your next borrowing that you have on the docket as well.
Great.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you all for your time. I hope you have a good night. And if you need anything in the interim, just let me know.
All right,
All
thanks,
right.
Tammy. Enjoy Minnesota.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Eller is the same company that works to raise our financing.
Yeah.
And so do we have to borrow, I mean, if I understand this right, we're borrowing, for example, the 3 million all at once.
Yep.
We're getting interest on whatever we don't use. We're sitting there for 6 months.
it could, depends upon what we do.
Right. So,
You're not gonna spend,
no, we're not. Right.
That's why we didn't borrow all 6 or 7 million at once.
One.
We just,
So.
because we
yeah.
were expecting rates to go down also.
for me, it's, I guess, we have construction for $3 million, and we take a job, They left, and, I mean, seems like we're paying a lot of money for this, for them to get the bonds or whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah, we're definitely paying them good money to,
They get their interest up front, this most, right?
And now they're saying now that you've gotten that bond and you have the money, you don't need to spend it all at once. Let us manage that cash that you have while you have it
For a fee.
before you pay it out for what I would describe as a very high fee.
a high fee, 6,000 on 98,000.
6%.
Yeah, that's 6% of the proceeds.
That seems crazy.
I was gonna say, I think we can get that just,
If you look at the
Yeah.
yield, like I figured it out, like it turns that 3.68 into like a 3.4 yield or something.
So it's,
It brings it down.
Yeah,
Like, it brings the yield down, because that's the income is the 11.
Yeah.
But then you have to subtract the 795 out of that 11 really yields.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
to me,
it isn't a.
that's a very high fee.
Okay.
If it was my 401k and you were taking that kind of fees, I'd be like, That's insane.
Yeah.
That's really high. In these interest rates markets,
Right.
right? If we can just passively get 4%,
Yeah,
no fees.
Yeah,
It's
No,
not,
yeah, obviously that would come out ahead, yeah.
If your savings account's giving you, 1%, well, 3.5 sound,
Yeah.
to pay $6,000 and get 3.5, I'm in.
Yeah,
But if I can just watch it get 4%, oh, this isn't doing anything.
Oh, is there a fee based off of, the outstanding balance or so that we've invested, or is it based off the income? Is it,
it looks to
Kind
me,
of balance.
I think on balance.
it should be, yeah, I was gonna say,
And so this isn't accurate either because of the 3.8, like 700,000 is just we've already spent. We're just reimbursing ourselves. So the first draw is the first day, like.
the other thing,
Oh, right, so it's not gonna be a 3.8 at the beginning.
Correct.
Right.
3.2
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So all these groups do spend.
Right.
well, the other thing too is she's talking about quarterly draws. I mean, what construction company's gonna?
Right, it'll be monthly probably, or,
monthly.
yeah.
I don't know about that.
You would know, yeah.
The well, think about the well. We had that up and operating for almost 6 months before we got the last bill.
Yeah, the
Oh,
last
that's
bill.
bill, yeah.
The last one's always different.
But I think we were doing them quarterly. I don't remember having them come every month to the board meeting.
I think for this borrowing, I'm not sure I would recommend going this,
Yeah.
but the one we'll do for next year is a bigger one, and I'm more concerned about that arbitrage.
Right, well, that was gonna be my next point is,
Yes.
we don't wanna be where all of a sudden the IRS is coming down on us.
So what does that mean? What is the argument? What's that?
So
It
because
makes sense.
these are tax exempt bonds, so we're getting a low interest rate. So the IRS doesn't want us to borrow money and then turn around and invest it and make.
Make money
Make
on
money.
borrowing money.
Right.
Then we
Right.
bought Bitcoin.
Right. So,
Want to be putting it in the sweep making 4 and we're loaning it out at 3.5.
Right.
And we're making that
Yeah.
10%.
So-
They're like saying that's bad news. Otherwise, they're gonna totally get us debt.
This is, yeah,
so there are exceptions, and this borrowing qualifies as an exception because it's below 5 million, so it's a small issuance. But I think the one we'll be doing in 2026 will be over 5 million, so I'd be a little more hesitant, like, I don't know. But
So what do they do different than, because they handle it, I guess, on the arbitrage because they're investing directly in government bonds?
well, they just know the rules better.
Yeah, that's a,
So they know which ones you can go that need whatever criteria the IRS has.
This is you're paying for some risk transfer.
Yeah,
Basically is what it sounds like, yeah, so you don't get.
But I go back to, put it in a money market and move on, and if the money market, whatever, is paid 4%.
Yeah,
What are we supposed to do? Put it in the mattress?
I don't know. Well, some, yeah, there are limitations to what you can make on that, so you gotta make sure you don't violate.
yeah, I think you just have to send the IRS.
what did you just?
You have to rebate the IRS for
Yeah,
however much more you
Oh,
earn.
if you make more, you have to give the.
Yeah,
IRS.
you have to,
yeah,
yeah,
if you're over these limits that they've set. Yeah,
Because you're making more. Okay,
Yeah.
but this is exempt, then, yeah, it would.
that's fine. This one I'm comfortable with us just
Well, and that's
investing
maybe
it,
why
but the,
that fee is so expensive because they're arbitraging you, but if it's gonna be bigger, then that's when you call the arbitrage guys, and he tells you how much you have to send the IRS or whatever, if you're paying.
well, what they try to do is avoid it so you don't have to.
Or you pay the fee so that you don't,
You're paying for that service then.
Right.
yeah, I don't,
Like in this case, I wouldn't.
yeah, I don't see any value to it, it's
But
not.
I feel prepared for next year, so I'm good.
All right.
okay.
I don't think we need to make any decisions on this today, do we?
Well, it's not, we don't make decisions anyways. I guess it would be more on this one, and we rarely do recommendations out of this committee because we try to stay neutral and stuff. I think this still has to go to the board though. We need to start educating them.
Okay,
So this should go to the board. And I think we can say that the finance committee looked at it and, we weren't in support of doing it at this time. But
Okay.
maybe next year, re-looking at it. That's what I would say. Is that consistent on what people
Yeah,
are thinking?
even as opposed to next year, larger.
Okay, whatever, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's not the timing of it, it's the size of it.
Right, right.
Anytime we get over the 5 million borrow, it should be really considered.
Yeah.
All right, but we should do that. We need to start educating the board and keeping them informed.
Thinking like the December meeting or next year.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is, so you don't want to present this to the board as an option that they would consider, like what you're saying, because.
Well, they can always overrule, but
Well, no, but that's what she said in December or sometime later, like if this was, the board was wanting to do this, they wanted to actually.
They should look at it Monday.
initiate this as soon as the bonds get sold.
yeah, but I mean, if we don't do it 30 days after the bonds are sold, it's not like. That's not gonna make a huge difference. We lose 30 days of their service, right?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, board is probably.
No, I'm just thinking if this committee says not and Bobby says we can manage without, I just don't see the board saying, oh, no, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, I see it as an educational piece. You know, just to get them aware of that there are rules when you borrow money that you can't make, you can only make so much on the money that you borrow.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting that
Flat to bond yield plus 1/8%.
Okay.
Excess earnings are payable to the IRS.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of educating people on that.
I think with this one too, it'll really help once we get our project schedule to know.
Yeah.
How long we're gonna be sitting on these funds.
Right.
And it seems like it is an intersection of both 5 million per issuance and 15 million annual issuance. So if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do like $3-4 million.
$4 million issuances are like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got you. We know what you're doing, yeah.
2.8 being borrowed in 25.
Yeah.
This million, yeah,
We already.
yep, we'll get this money in December.
Yeah, we've bought things already, you know, the sweeper and stuff like that. But we've used the cash.
The ambulance.
The ambulance, yeah. So that's what this is, but then there's also the start of the building.
And that's where I was coming from. A construction company is gonna,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the well's a different situation, but having built apartment buildings, the contractors are coming and asking for their piece.
Site,
Whatever.
or material on site that isn't gonna be used for months. But as long as on site it's buildable.
Like we did not have that. I'm thinking of all that piping for Brewery Road that sat on that lot.
We bought that outright though. We paid for that.
Yeah, but
They buy it direct.
oh, okay, yeah, I guess so, that they were on the hook for.
But most construction chemical charge.
Oh, yeah, because they have to pay for it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're gonna want that.
Yeah, it's there. Not gonna use it for 4 months, but it's.
I just don't, like I said, for the well, I just don't remember
How do
monthly
we do
bills.
arbitrage on our current bonds?
We're not big enough.
We've never had.
And we,
This is one of the biggest that interest I've ever seen. Normally do like 1 million.
well, we did 7 million for the sewer plant. And the library was way up there too.
That was before I was here.
Yeah,
It was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're all paid off, but
Like in the last 10 years, this is the biggest one.
yeah, yeah, I know.
Okay.
And then the TID obviously made a big, obviously borrowed money for the road and, you know, some of those apartments, hopefully. Yeah, yes. The answer is yes, we are. Not hopefully, we are gonna pay off.
We'll talk about that like.
Yeah,
It's like before agenda.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we good with this one then?
Thank you.
All right, so then we'll go to, it's listed as item 1, discussion and possible approval of the August 6, 2025 Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion for the August 6, 2025 finance advisory. Meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same, so moved. So number 2, discussion regarding review of purchases and policy bid tabulation forms, if any. Questions to Bobby on any of those?
Oh.
I went first last time, seriously.
One was just more curiosity, to see if Ace, the trash bags, it's just piddly stuff, but they must have bought them twice or at the same time. We had two different purchases for over 100 garbage bags for the pool in August, which we were closing. Ace Hardware,
I wonder if you just
trash bags, pool, 81, and
13 bucks.
that's very cool. Maybe they do, it's like, I don't know. I would just think we have a better system of purchasing quantity for everything versus somebody going out and buying.
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't know if all those bags are just for the pool or they just recorded
Just, Ariel, what? Athletics? Is that
Caracal? Or what?
it? Oh, yeah.
What was it called?
Yeah.
Aquatics?
Yes.
Yep, that's their annual pool. I think we pay them like 4 times a year or something.
They do it all at once. There you go, Jay.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Same check number.
I think the invoice dates were all different. Yeah. I think they got in Mike's spam or he didn't get them. They were all from separate ones. They all got paid at the one time though. Yes.
That was a fun phone call, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
But it's just like the chemicals and stuff for the pool.
Dane County for Dane County.
Yep.
Is that, we get that bill twice?
Yes. One is usually bigger than the other, I think.
I think we need to explore that. We had $16,000 a year we're paying for communications.
So what's all the alternative?
But isn't that part of the 911, how they split the fees?
Well, there's a separate group that does that. When they work for the county, they have an on-center board.
Yeah.
And there's also a group that ran Dane County. And it's a small little group and they set the fees and say what they need. My point is, if that money is paying for the fire department's base fee, if that's the thing, I don't even know how they divide it up. If there's a base fee for Cross Springs Fire, Cross Springs Dairy Fire,
Yeah.
plus every radio that they have, mobile portables, and then you take
EMS.
same thing. Now you have the police department, you have those, but let's say this bill is 8,000, let's say 1,000 of it's for the fire department. Our cost of that would only be 60%.
Right. I don't know. I guess what we should look at is, call them and see what that breakdown is from, what they're basing it on.
The village is paying for stuff that
The towns should be paying part of it.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if that's the case. We should look into it if that's,
Go into,
but I'm not.
the EMS budget, a fraction into the police budget, a fraction into.
do we do cross charges or chargebacks or any of that stuff for these things?
Well, we would on something like this.
I'd like to have it once.
There is no other thing that I can come up, and I'm on both boards that we share, but if this is the case where they're just billing the village, but we're also paying for fire and EMS, and then that'll be something the village needs to bring up, saying, hey, look, we've been paying all this and it should be really divvied out because the town should be paying their share. But we don't know that. We don't know what that is.
You're asking.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I sent you the bill. There's not much of a description on there at all.
No, I think we gotta call them and ask them how it's broken down. I don't know if it's by radios or by population or what.
I know that in talking with Chad Fleck, was part of that county, they were trying to track the number of portable radios that we actually have on the system. So they can try to figure a better way of building it. I think it is kind of a hodgepodge of, we're just throwing numbers out there myself. But I would take the time to dig further to find out where that money.
You wanna do that? Okay.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, we should. Cause I'm going down that route all the time, because we have these agreements. And we should enforce the agreements that if there's something we're paying that they should be paying, we need for them to pay for their fair share of it.
Or even knowing that the base fee for the public works is on the system. Police department, what is it coming out of their departments? Now they have to charge back, but understand there's a fee for operating.
Yeah.
The system.
Yeah.
Is it possible that they are also getting a fee in that?
Well,
We would then really not understand what this is?
Well, I don't do the police department or the fire department EMS. I never saw one from EMS. I don't know if Jefferson never has either.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't go through individual bills that you know, I just don't do that. I look big picture, I go crazy doing.
About right.
Yeah, going EMS and all that, so I leave that, because I know other people look at all the bills. Yeah, exactly.
Do they know, perhaps bill like Tom Berry for their portion?
Yeah, that's where I was going.
You know, you don't know.
For them to say, do, find out from them, is it there, are they including that very?
Yes.
Well, the first step is to figure out how they come up with it.
Yeah.
And if it's by radios, then we should ask them, okay, how many radios do you have for cross plane? Then we counter that and count how many radios we have and see if we're picking up all the other radios. I mean, that's the way to do it, just like we did with the phone numbers, right? You get, you get an audit, you get them all down there and you figure out if we're being billed for the right ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Hydro for cross connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, someone can EMS with cross connection on our boiler. And we'd have paid a bill from, HVAC First Board every year to have it.
Yep.
Looked at.
Yep.
But if it wasn't, it went to a notice, you defaulted, and it must be a public sector, because then we got postcards from a private company saying, hey, we see you in violation, you failed, check your cross connection. We can do that for you for a fee. But we were required the amount to pay it. Now, why is the village taking on those responsibilities? And should that be looked into further?
This year they're doing like all the village owned properties. They're starting commercial there's,
It was 200 residents.
they aren't doing any residents this year.
Oh,
So yeah, there's certain categories that have to be checked every year. And then like a residential home is like every 5 years.
I don't know how they do it.
we talked about that,
At the board, yeah.
doing that, but then you get into the enforcement part of it and stuff, so the citizens are gonna pay for it one way or the other, right? They're gonna be paying through their water usage, that's how we pay now, or they pay individually with, whatever the company would bill them. So that, to me, it's a wash. Right, now for EMS, it's a little different, since you guys, I guess you pay a water bill. Yeah,
If a private owner has a cross connection, I would think that's his responsibility, it's in his house. And
but the state we have to make sure that it's done. That's a huge administrative job.
Okay.
We'd have to go to every house and check on it. We don't have the staff to do that.
No, I am just thinking why if the firstborn sends a notice and we pay it, they haven't done the DMS like we missed a year, and then it goes, the state posts it, you didn't submit it, and the private company comes in and goes after, and recommends they can do it. I just think we spent a lot of money, unless it's not on their water and or sewer bill, is it? If I have a cross connection in my home, do I get charged for that?
Not directly, you won't get like a single bill,
Right.
right?
So it just seems to me we're,
But the money that we're paying this company is coming out of water, Right? yeah.
What do you mean it's coming out of water?
The water utility is
Yeah.
paying a company to do cross connection inspections.
And how do they know? Who is a cross connection?
They gotta go to every house. That's what the state, that's not our idea. The state came in and said, you're supposed to know every 5 or 10 years, you gotta make sure that everybody's cross connections, whatever that is working and fixed, because of what happened out in California with the fire. They contaminated whole water system because of that. So that is what they're doing. No one knows who has them or not, right? Because we don't record that. So you got to go to every house. Yeah, it's once again, it's a
Unfunded mandate.
yeah. So the idea is, how do you get that done
Without our staff, yeah.
with the staff we have, and this is what this company came in, it's like a 5-year plan or something to start with, and,
To even identify them all? Is it just to identify them all?
well, it's to make sure they're working, yeah.
Make sure there isn't a cross.
So they'll check like where your dishwasher is hooked up and your garbage disposal.
This is the whole plumbing thing that but the whole idea is for them is to protect our water supply.
I mean, I'm totally on board with the intent.
Yeah, well,
I just wanted to raise another component to it, then like,
You're just saying like, why is EMS paying it in the village?
well, no, I'm
Like-
saying why, if a plumbing company like Firstborn put that in, and they have a tag on it, it has to be serviced every year, and they never come and service it, would they,
I don't think that residential, they don't get, you don't have to service those. I don't have any tag on my, garbage disposal
oh.
or dishwasher, do you?
No, but that's just normal plumbing, you're right, okay.
I
Yeah,
wonder if like a PI though would have.
yeah,
something
PI
coming in.
does. Yeah, those commercial ones, obviously, anything over a certain size, when we saw that, is required to. And I don't think those are the ones we're inspecting, are we?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I think ones that are in,
Just
where the state requires it or something, those are, I don't think part of this.
Yeah, I probably asked when they have all the other inspections.
Yeah, yeah.
Our boiler was inspected.
Because they have very big pipes that would really,
Water now.
yeah.
Okay. Then Mike Jackson football. $4,000.
Yep. So the flag football program that they run through the NFL, Mike's,
Where is this on there?
yeah, what page? It's a credit card bill. Or no, it's not it's so Mike's credit card through his village credit card always has issues with like fraud,
Oh.
flagging. And so he was trying to buy all the jerseys for the flag football program and wasn't able to, so he had to put it on his own credit card. And so I think this happened, this is not the first year we've reimbursed Mike for this. Yeah, I don't know.
He just thought 4,000 was a lot for flag football.
Well, I know you paid some venture umpire for football in which.
Oh, no, it wasn't umpiring. No, yeah.
Basically gets reimbursed for legitimate reasons, it just, that's
Yep.
a very, very large number.
Yes,
And
Yep.
it even goes to, that, for something physical, jersey. though.
yeah, that's for all the
There's
jerseys,
8
flags,
football,
football.
each jersey is $50, so that's not quick.
Yeah,
Well, and they send so much stupid stuff, like they got like tents, and then we got like 3 boxes of this like laundry sanitizing stuff, and just like all this crap. I'm like, no wonder it's $4,000. Like, and then like you get footballs every year and the flags, and yeah.
And then the last one I had is the Town and Country. We did reimburse for like this for the PI.
Yep.
We keep track of all that and
Bill and
the
back.
developer
Yep.
will eventually pay us all of that.
Well, we require them to have the money up front. They
give us, yeah.
like a $10,000.
That's right, I saw that.
Yep.
$10,000. Next.
I focused on a little bit larger.
Okay.
McQueen Equipment, Vector parts, did the Vector break or what happened?
Numbers
That was the,
Tractor truck.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I don't get into the day operations, but
that came to the board. I think, wasn't that the,
is that the sweeper you're talking about?
no, it was the big truck they had to send to Milwaukee, remember?
Oh,
Sewer lines.
oh, that's right. We got new tires and,
They rebuilt the motor.
Yeah,
They were-
yeah.
yeah.
It came to the board and got,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now
That's what I was curious about.
Yeah,
yeah.
they tried to use it.
they said it was in really good shape, but we just needed new tires and some replacement parts. And
Yeah,
stuff.
they had to like.
But you gotta go to Milwaukee with it.
Okay, yeah, it just seemed like a big expenditure.
Yeah, it was, but it's a lot cheaper than buying a new one.
I teased Matt, he spent a lot of money this year.
Knowing what cars cost, I can't imagine.
Well, that sweeper was $250,000. That new sweeper we have.
Really?
The street sweeper.
They,
Yeah.
different topic. I hope they're gonna do more markings on that.
They're just getting used to driving and I saw them driving on that curve and they had to back up a couple times. They haven't quite got the
Oh, we're
idea.
still in the learning phase.
Yeah,
We're using it in where I lived the other day, they were on the streets.
yeah, straightaways, but you know, I have those half cul-de-sacs. So because it's not like the other sweepers that are, it looks like a truck,
Yeah.
four-wheel truck. So I think you gotta take it kind of a different angle.
Because we don't want to.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen.
There's a naming contest.
My next question, the F-550 for the EMS, is that part of our capital plan?
Yeah. No, that's their part of their capital plan. If
It's
we,
on ours.
yeah, but it's not, we don't schedule that, they do.
Right, they let us know when they're gonna,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then we spent a bunch of money on water infrastructure, reservoir painting, inspections,
Yeah.
repair.
we had
Was
a,
that planned or was?
yeah, they were actually a year delayed. The state, another one of those state requirements that you gotta paint the inside and outside.
Like 20 years or something.
Everything.
Yeah,
It actually came in at half the price it originally was going to.
no, it's 500,000 is what we thought, and then we get,
It's still a lot of money.
oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
But there's no choice on that.
Right, this was
Yeah.
for me.
Yep, no, catch up, yeah.
And then is Wool the architects we're using for?
The new building.
The new building? Okay. That's all I had.
All right, good. Anybody else? All right, let's go to 3, discussion regarding financial reports.
Once again, interest income, is that just because we model an extremely low interest rate? Let's never stop doing that.
Well, that and not only that, we have a lot more in the fund balance because we're saving for the village hall.
Right.
So it's almost twice as high as what it would regularly be, but we're saving so we can pay cash.
So it's high tide, let's
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of why.
Yes, we do budget that line item conservatively.
Are the building permits, the revenue from that is like way up, is that just we're building more homes than we expected?
Yeah, that's another line item we always just keep the same. So then I do a budget amendment. Actually, you'll see it on the October statements. We did a
Yeah.
budget amendment. So the expense we pay to the building inspector and the revenues we're bringing up, we'll adjust both of those.
And then, the court fines, is that still?
Yeah, that's definitely high.
Positive variance. Okay. The shared revenues from the state, is that a timing issue?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, those don't come in all the same time.
That's all I know.
Mhm.
What was the fire charges on the revenue?
What's that?
That's on the revenue, there's fire.
This fire insurance?
Down, fire protection fees.
That's,
Yeah,
that is the fire department reimbursing us for the payroll for their officers.
Oh,
oh,
23,000, okay.
So we do their payroll and send them an invoice and they pay us. And
Mhm.
I don't know why it's coded there, but that's where it just has always been coded.
Okay, but I mean, it is a fire protection fee, but not how I would have thought.
But yeah, it's fire officer
I
salaries.
think it's awful high.
no, because the chief makes 10 grand.
Oh, yeah, okay, oh, then push the money, okay.
But it looks like we're gonna be, this is only 9 months, we're at full year's budget already, so we're gonna.
Oh, wait, they just get paid once a year.
Oh, he paid once a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is almost job.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a stipend.
That's what they call it.
I think 10 grand is a high stipend, but they don't, if it becomes part-time, then all kinds of regulations kick in.
What's the big, increase this year, like in community development revenue there? 51,000.
So that's the reimbursement from developers.
Oh.
Yep. So the more we spend, the more we get. Or they spend, yeah.
Crossing lot 56. So those were the two big ones that.
So again, that's another line item. We just always budget the same. And then if it's higher than normal, we do the budget amendment on both sides to even it out.
And then we got spreadsheets or whatever that tracks
Mhm.
per project to keep tabs if they've used up their deposits yet or not.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they
And the city of Madison wants to do that to us.
Well, we do too. I think Marchstone, weren't they like $200 over and we made them pay more money down right away.
10,000 a truck.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, 20 was the last request.
Okay.
It's like, we need 20,000.
Yeah, they do a good job
Yeah.
on keeping that, a fund balance on developers.
Nothing else for me.
All right, anybody else?
Question maybe back to waste management. You said that was bought, Peterson bought up, or Waste Management bought out Peterson? Is that right?
So we had Town and Country,
Or Town Country?
and then that became Peterson Sanitation, and now it's this BFI Waste. They keep merging and buying each other out.
Didn't you negotiate a 5-year contract?
7.
Really low rate? Is that gonna be maintained?
Yeah, I believe.
It goes through 2028. We're getting a lot of complaints lately. We actually got someone last week emailed Carly and kind of demanded that we look at the contract and maybe try to pull out early because they're so dissatisfied with the company.
So what are they dissatisfied with?
That would happen.
So apparently there's a couple of the trucks that are rusty in places. And so when they go over a bump or something, like stuff will fall out. They're like leaving glass and stuff.
I know they're leaking hydraulics, but it's on the road and it gets absorbed pretty quickly on our.
Like-
Increase in fee or.
I'm telling you, and once this one runs out, we will see a
There'll be-
huge jump.
Yes.
This was a hell of a contract. It was a really good deal, and that was because they really wanted to go to tubs versus how we used to have it. So they were willing because it takes a lot less people and a lot faster.
Work out.
But didn't I see on mine was last week or 2 weeks ago where they had 7 of their trucks break down or something?
Yes.
Well, that may be, I'm just saying.
And that, some of our residents might not get picked up until Friday.
Yeah, all I'm saying is financially,
That's right.
We're getting a hell of a deal.
we got a hell of a deal, and they're getting it because they need a lot fewer employees. You can have one person on the truck instead of 2. So it worked out for good. I don't even want to think of what the next one will be.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, that was.
When we switch companies, that could be.
It'll be like the lawn mowing. That we had to switch.
Yeah, it'll be a.
Tripled.
Have public works are picking up the garbage.
Unless you
Well,
want
I
to buy a
think
new truck those gotta be probably close to
$1 million.
$750,000
Yeah.
bucks.
I think a lot of our residents think we pick up the garbage because they call here and they're like, they didn't get my street, send someone to come get it. Like, well, that's not our employees, so we can't just come pick up your garbage.
I had a resident complain to me one night there, he was like, say it's happened a few times, like the garbage truck will not stop at his house, like it'll just keep going, so he actually called the garbage company. Was like, they totally missed my house, she's like, no, they didn't do that, so he has cameras outside, he emailed her the video of the truck driving by, she's like, okay, we'll get somebody over there, like he sent her the video of the truck.
See, I had zero problem.
Yeah, but he said it's happened a few
I
times.
live on a cul-de-sac, so like this poor truck, like the guy's gotta like, it's like, he's gotta be the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Every time, and like, but every time they do he picks it up, there's not trash anywhere, like he does a very good job, so like.
Yeah, I that's why I was curious, because I think they've done an outstanding job.
Yeah, if you want them to pick stuff up for a fee,
Mhm.
they show up and gone. So
Yeah.
they're great, and only BFI is gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would be very upset if it was dumping glass, yeah, I'd be very upset.
Yeah, but again, I'm just wondering, did
It's
it
like a
happen
one-off thing.
once?
Right.
And now it's this big general thing that
always, right?
Yeah.
So I guess on social media just keeps reposting the same picture.
Yeah. Or then everybody out, jumps in and says, they missed glass was coming out, but, well, it happened what?
They did come back and, like, we called and they came back and cleaned it up, so.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, accidents happen.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right, good. All right, we'll go to discussion and possible action regarding early repayment of debt service for TID 3. Go ahead, Michael, this is yours.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I was looking through the budget and the TID is gonna have, according to the budget documents, like an $800,000, like fund balance on there. So then as Bobby kind of throw together some stuff, and so I kind of went through it and sort of formulated a plan if we want to close this thing. If you look down at the 2014 A financing column there, in 2026, we do the 100,000 and the $25,000 interest. But when you look down the principal column there underneath that, there's 7 more payments of $100,000, and that's practically exactly what our overage is gonna be this year. And that whole entire, basically I'm saying, in that column, we should completely pay that off next year.
Just be done.
Yeah, absolutely. We would make one payment of $825,000 to the 214A column, and that whole entire debt load right there. Because it's almost enough, and probably the TID would probably have a fund balance of $50,000 to $100,000. I'm estimating, like, let's see. I think it's all gonna cover it.
It'll be close, yeah.
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 I think it's gonna be-
So I think it's definitely something.
About 50?
Well, we have 50 now, I thought she said, in the fund balance in that budget document in the TID. And when you go all the way over there on here, it says you're gonna have a 709 overage, and that's a $700,000 bump with the 50. It would be like we would still have like $60,000 in fund balance.
Okay, I'm confused because we just had the meeting for the TID review in September. Every September we look it over. And we determined there, and Ellers was part of this. And they said we could close it in 2028. And there
27.
would be a balance. Huh?
It's 2027.
It's 2027.
Yeah, we'll close it in 2027.
Is that what they said? I thought they said 2028.
No, if this is the document, you can do it in 2020.
Okay, 2027, yes. Okay, you're right. This is it. And there will be that fund balance of 1.3 million, and we get about a third of that. It's divided between all that thing, but okay, 27. And you think we can do it earlier by how? Because according
So
to
we're not closing it a year early. He's just paying off this debt a year earlier to save on interest.
See, I'm not closing the TID, I'm just closing that.
it was very clear to me that if you have the funds to pay off the debt, you have to close it. So if we can do it in 2026.
We won't have enough to pay all of the debts, just this one issuance.
That 2014 A financing column.
Yeah, okay.
That's the one that next year there's enough money to close out everything all the way down to.
But we still have to pay all of these.
Still have to pay all those transfer outs over there, which that's like.
So we'll need another year to like get enough money to cover all those.
So did you look at the 2014 A, are we eligible for the? Yep.
The 2014 A issue is callable now with 30 days notice. To use a simple illustration, if it's called on its next payment date of June 2025, the village would owe 800,000 in principal and 13,000 of interest. So the 25,000 is two interest payments.
Gotcha, so we did on the first one.
It's just half of that, yep.
Okay, we're all talking about the TID still now?
Yeah.
The money in the TID, okay. Sometimes we jump around here and I just want to make clear what we're talking about here.
So
Okay, you're not talking about any other debt, we're talking about just the TID.
Specifically about the
Okay.
2014 A.
Yeah.
I'm only about 2% ahead of you, so like.
So we'll save $100,000 in interest.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean,
yes, no, because if we don't pay it all off in 2026, we're gonna pay it all off in 2027.
right.
So you pay it off a year early, yeah.
Right, but
See-
I was just like, the money's there and we're gonna save that interest, we can just remove that whole financing vehicle and then that's what's gone from the TID. Does that make sense to everyone?
It does to me if, I just don't understand why Ellers wouldn't have said something in September if that was an option. Why wouldn't we have wanted to save interest? That's my only concern. I mean, the experts, here we are, we're paying them good money to monitor. Why wouldn't they have said in September, hey, you could do this and save this?
Well, they didn't.
Well, they put this together, they gotta know.
Well, they didn't tell us to pay off the milestone thing. We came up with that on our own.
Yeah, but that's true, but that's a different story because that was run all the way through 2037. That is a policy decision
I
made.
understand, Jake, but.
That one I'm not gonna throw on them because they may have said we wanted that to be that way.
They pick up a fee if it stays another year, so you get bond, they get the bond paying fee, but hangs around another year.
Right.
I would be.
I mean, they probably thought you were gonna
They're
close early anyways.
paying two payments rather than one, they're gonna collect another fee.
Yeah, but I'd be disappointed if that was their justification.
I don't know if it is or
I
not.
mean, that'd be well, we put out publicly, but I mean, they come in and try to sell us a manager money also for 6.
Well, that's I don't have a problem, but here's my problem. If they're trying to get us to have them manage our money, and then I find out that this could have been done, that is not managing our money,
No, I agree.
right? So that's why I just wanna make sure, and have you run that by Eller that this would all work?
That's this.
I know what you're saying
Yeah,
there, but
yeah.
Who's that email from?
Ellers.
Oh, they actually said that if we wanted to pay it out.
Because when I emailed them the agenda, I said, hey, you'll notice that we're also talking about this.
yeah,
And so then he wrote that back, that is callable and we could do that if we had that cash. We have that amount.
if we have that, he doesn't know if we have it or not?
Because we don't know what the TID increment payment will be for next year yet.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, okay, what do you mean by that? Like, so these numbers are guesses on here?
Yes.
Yes.
So how would we know that exact number? Like, what do you
In
mean?
December.
Once I get the counties,
Yeah, once the taxes are.
once all the taxes come, like,
Yeah.
once we set our levy and the county gives us their
Basically, all
levy.
things staying the same.
Okay.
Right, so this is assuming
Right, this is assuming that.
the tax increment will be 995,000,
Oh, I get you.
and I don't think, well, it might be, we might get that much. You know,
But
last
there's
year,
gonna be something there.
yeah,
It's gonna be, okay, so that's why you're saying it's gonna be real, this is all sort of.
right, because we don't know what this number
And
is.
that cash flow is just the TID.
Yep.
correct?
Right.
Is there any advantage in keeping it open and not paying it all? I understand you're not paying the interest.
Well, there is a value in keeping it open in general, because you then can loan out more money. We're not to that date yet, but I think it's been pretty consistent with the board. We want to close it because we want the revenue coming to the village now instead of paying off debt. So I don't think there's any desire to loan out any more money in the TID, and I think we have a couple years,
So if we
2027.
don't loan out any more money, we have to, like, once your cash is more than your liabilities, you have to close early.
What would we loan out money for? Additional development?
Yeah, yeah.
If somebody wanted to build an apartment building and tear down some buildings downtown and.
That's just for $1 million or something, yeah.
Help finance your project.
And that's what made this so successful, is getting the people in there to do it, especially that first apartment building where we had the butter factory, which was a brownfield and everything, and it was, and it helped us redo 14 with sewer and water and everything like that. So this has been very successful. But I think what we are now valuing is that we'd rather have that tax money coming in versus loaning out, because we can always build another 10 if we wanted to. So I think that's what we're doing, and that's why I think there's pretty much agreement that we want to close it in 2027. But to do that, we can't loan out any more money.
Maybe this is nothing, but somebody said Zurn is looking at maybe what was it building? To modify their windows and buying that, I mean, I know it's a bit different, that's nothing that we need to worry about, or?
Well, it's not worried. That's news to me. I've made that, we talked to them today. And they've got a whole design of rebuilding on their current property. They bought the, they closed the leases on that across. So they have a whole design, but it's really tight. It's right up against the floodplain and everything. So that they asked if there's any property out there, and we mentioned, Rose's old building and Maddox's, that part. And then I gave them a little history that the Rip farm at one time was, looked at for an industrial park. So maybe they would be willing to sell a part of it, but when we did the sewer plant, we were looking to jump the river, the creek, so that came up, but I don't think they have any plan. They have a plan, a conceptual plan for their property and what they need with a new area for retail and storage and.
If something did come, you're saying you could open another district?
Yeah, we have to go to a referendum, but I don't, we've had 3 kids and every one of them has been extremely successful. And I don't consider it corporate welfare at all. I consider it investing in your community. And this is a perfect example.
Why did you close it early? Like, what a story, right? Like,
Yeah,
success.
yeah. Agreed. Yeah,
So the payout, milestone got paid out.
we paid them all.
That was that, did we approach them to
Yes,
pay it early?
yeah. And they were okay with it.
Funny how
They-
developers are okay with getting money ahead.
I know, but I mean, he wanted it, but he could have been sitting on 7%. That's a pretty good rate of return.
True, all right. So
Yeah, so
I'm trying to see discounted, they got discounted to get, we did that with one of our properties too, where all of a sudden.
yeah, so, that was a
Small building.
That was a good
City came back and said, hey, we'd like to pay you off here, and here's our proposals. Okay, fine.
Yeah, and I can see why they wanted the cash. If they're in development, they need money to do another development. That probably gives a better return than 7%.
And at that point, we were ready to sell that building anyways.
Yeah. So,
our developers.
all right.
Put the money in.
So when will we have a better picture, whether it's doing it in January or in December, like when all the tax stuff happens?
Well, maybe.
And that's when we should probably bring it to the board.
Well, we definitely should, because it's payable when in June 25th.
It sounds like we just, has to be board action for a call notice, and then you have to give 30 days notice that you're just paying it off.
Now, if this is gonna happen, Jerry, you're gonna wanna take it to that board that manages the TID and let them know, paying this off.
No, we don't have to do that. No, we have to get their permission to close, but
The benefits already to
the
close.
problem is the law is gonna force us to close, so.
Okay, but you don't have to tell them, if this money's there, we can go ahead and do it, you don't have to go to the. Okay,
No,
let's make it
no,
fair, because-
no, we're the financial agent. We're the financial agent for this.
Actually, the billing.
Yeah. So it's basically, they have a right to open it and to close it.
But we can
Yeah.
do these closures.
Now, obviously, if we do something wrong and stuff, I suppose they could sue us
Right.
if they don't like it. But no, it's been pretty good.
Okay, well, I was just making sure.
And it made me happy when they said that state law says you have to close it. Because City of Madison, I don't know how they get around it, but they don't always close the TIDs right away. And Middleton somehow gets around it because they like to build up these huge funds. So like Bob Green told me, one of the Middleton one is closing and the school district's gonna get a check for $1 million.
Well, that seems like it's illegal, because you shouldn't be running that much of an overage.
I know, but
Unless it happened in 1 year and they just have that much money coming into the plan.
maybe, I don't know.
Look where our overage is projected to be at the end.
Yeah, if we kept it open, you get $9 million at the end.
What's that?
I said, if we left ours open until the end.
Right, that's what I'm,
$9 million.
yeah. But they're saying that you can't. Now, we could have if we didn't pay off Milestone. Cause that went to 2037.
Even if you have, but you have to close it when your money is exceeding your liability.
Right, yep.
No, you couldn't, because you'd have way more money than.
No, that's not how Ellers talked
As
about
long
it.
as you have one thing callable, you can be just.
If you that you have, the kid has to pay somebody, it's not paid for you. That liability, if he would have said no to us, we wouldn't have been able to close it.
So the two would have to stay open.
Yeah,
So if I'm reading this right, the 2016 B the 2016 B is gonna be paid off in 2026.
Yep.
yeah.
So that's the rest of the big, so those are the big debts. What is the conservation development?
Yeah.
They transfer out, what are those?
Yep, so these are more accurate. So it's like our fees to Ellers for doing the reporting.
Which one's that?
It's in this,
Part of the conservation.
we give money, part of the audit bill gets coded to the TID, so that's in this line item. It's like accounting fees and,
Conservation.
yeah, it's kind of weird. The $400 is the paying agent fee when we pay, the debt thing, so that's for tellers out, the transfer,
That would go away if we.
Yep. So, yeah.
All of that'll go.
These will go away.
Part of our audit, it's closed.
Yep, these fees, these are revenue bonds, right? And we can't pay that off early, so what we would do is say it's 10 years, so I don't know if it's 10
Right,
years,
it'd be like-
880,000. We would have to give, say to, it's all to the water, it's water and sewer, but you give it to them and then they hold it, and then every year they release. Yeah, yeah, so the TID just gives them their chunk and they hold it and make their debt payments for the next 10 years.
Cause that's, cause those are structured as a so many clean water. bonds.
Yeah, so those you can't pay off early, but
Okay,
the
that's-
2014, you,
Just wondering what that was, so it just says transfer out, so I didn't.
Yeah.
We're going to.
water and sewer.
All right, that sounds great. Now, those payments, this was like this would be an arbitrage thing. So those payments though include principal and interest to the water utility. If we the TID gives the water utility, say, a chunk of money, can the TID pay less interest because that chunk of money is gonna be sitting on the water utility gaining interest? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think,
It gets really weird.
I think utilities are totally different because that's an enterprise, or as our audit calls it, business-like, and they have different rules.
Well, but that's, so I mean, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I'd be.
Because
fine
if
giving-
these were they issued as tax exempt revenue bonds though, or just
I'm sure
taxable revenue
I'm
bonds?
sure they were tax exempt.
Well, those clean and safe water, those are subsidized by the state or the DNR.
Right.
Aren't they?
Well, they just give you a lower interest rate. It's not like they're doing any type of payment. They're just giving you the money at a lower rate. And I'm sure that's from, some fund that they have.
Right.
It's
Basically what I'm saying is I don't want to get the water, because if we give them principal and interest for this loan that's gonna exist for another 10 years. Well, that principal that we just gave the water utility is going, and it's not being spent yet because it's a set thing. That's gonna be generating interest, which means the TID might give them less interest because this is actually gonna be generating it. Because now they have $400,000 that's gonna be generating interest. Why does the TID have to give all the money? Because at the end, they're gonna have extra money that didn't get spent on the loan. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want present value back.
Exactly. You want that to end up at zero, which means the amount that the TID would actually give would be less than a principal
And then
interest.
88 times 10.
Exactly. It would be slightly less because that bulk money is gonna be making interest. There's a weird,
I don't know.
I don't know, like if that's.
That was not talked about at our group.
Well, that was just one concern I had with that, like paying that off, but how you would do that or what.
It's 10 years.
It's 8 years if you count on there,
Well, yeah.
from 27 to 35.
But there's gonna be there could be $400,000, you know, then the next year it's 360, the next year it's 320, the next year it's 280, but that money's gonna be accumulating interest if it's sitting in a fund at the water utility.
The water utility needs money though, so we're okay with it.
Well, that's one of those things we have to check.
I mean, I don't know who would know that or how that would be legal or how you would go about doing that. I mean,
I think Ellers should know.
Ellers has probably closed its bid where there's a
Yeah.
revenue bond. and
Yep, I'm sure
they
that-
Probably, but that's a question for, not this year, that's a question for 2027.
And that's probably why when they said that we could pay it off in 2027, because now we have our fund balance of 1.6, but including the transfers out, the debt's only 1.3.
And remind me, what's tripping us going from 56,690 to 709 and here, what's driving that big jump?
It's only 109.
Oh, here?
Oh,
Well, if it over the annual.
well, because last year we paid the Birch Group $438,000.
Yeah.
So we brought that balance way down. So this, because it's generating so much money.
Yeah,
So when we're at that 709, I'm saying we spent $700,000 to kill buying 214A. So that line then turns into $9,000.
Yep.
Then what I'm doing.
and there's, you know,
Oh, I'm
big jumps.
Yeah, but
But
that's,
then in the future, all those interest payments on the 2014 financing go away.
that whole entire column goes away
Right.
after 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what, that would even, yeah, that would make that annual amount just go, you know, up even more for next year, because then you're aiming at that, you know, or in 2027, it's not. But yeah, that's basically looking at that column, trying to get that annual occurrence down to
Zero.
yeah, and what can we use all that money to do for? What I just looked at this form and I was like, that'd be a great thing to use it.
Mhm. I know we're not a decision-making body, but I support your analysis.
As long as
Thank you.
it can be done, and like I say, I'm a little concerned that
Well, we need to.
Ellers didn't mention that as a possibility when we were talking about it, because we were talking about closing and everything like that, and it would have made sense saying, hey, you know, you could take some of that right now and you'd save yourself 30,000 in interest if you paid this off early. I mean, I would think as us being, the customer, they would do that. I don't know why it would hurt them if we called in a bond early.
Is it possible that they would be hedging until they see what the tax revenue is gonna be and then make a recommendation? You would think they would forecast, they would lock.
Yeah.
Their projection was we only were gonna have 818, you know, that maybe that was short a little bit or something, I don't know. Yeah.
That could be there.
Yeah, I think, it's a question to ask him. I would be all for it if can be done without any problems or anything. I just want to make sure, it's gonna kind of be disappointing if that is an option and it wasn't expressed at our meeting, because it was pretty clear where we were coming from. But like I say. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to have cash and pay debt.
Right.
Well, no, why?
Pay it off.
Sitting.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Okay.
All righty. So we'll just, again, I think this is one of the things we'll bring to the board once we have all the true numbers, and we'll certainly keep you guys informed on what the turnout
It
is.
sounds like the payment date would be in June anyway. So that would be,
Yes, we still have time.
because that's when the next payment on that financing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to give them 30 days notice, so, I mean, we still got it.
Could we pay it before that if we want?
Yeah, I think so. You said we had 30 days, yep. Is that it can be called earlier with
Well,
30
if
days.
we're gonna make the payment, we make it as early as possible, because you think you would save us more interest.
Yeah.
I'm all for it anywhere we can save money, so I'm not opposed to this. I just want to make sure we have all the i's dotted and t's crossed.
Sounded like that email. Definitely doable. And if we can't, if there isn't enough money to close it, we can probably get it pretty darn close.
But there's a difference between you can do it and that they would recommend that you do it.
I don't know why they won't.
Well, I don't know either, but what I'm saying is just because you can doesn't mean it's always the right thing.
But I think that's where
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
tell us that, but again, if there's all of a sudden, like you said, Middleton or something, they decide to loan money, we decide, hey, somebody wants to come in there. Now we've got money within if we want to loan it out,
Yeah.
but.
but
But-
I'm not worried about that, because I
I'm
think,
saying that if
Yeah.
they're looking at that part of it and saying.
yeah, maybe.
That they're saying, oh, this is giving you the
Option.
it's giving
Was
you.
there looking for any incentives in the conversation, or was it just a?
No. No, not at this point. They've worked it out. What they're doing is trying to move, they bought out, that window and, door place by the Tesla place in Madison there. Yeah, Watts Road yeah,
I know what you mean, yeah.
and they wanna just consolidate their business. So, cause they're leasing that, so they'd like to get out of the lease and move that here into Cross Point.
Like the sound of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, it's a good thing.
That's what I heard, and then, and knowing that that was in the TID district, yeah, I wanted to make sure we weren't excluding them and closing it, or if they came along 2 years from today, then, but if we can reopen one, that's great, I just wanna make sure.
It did not appear at all for today's meeting that financial was a problem. Their problem is trying to squeeze what they want in that space without interfering with the floodplain and, having enough 20 feet to get a fire engine around the building and,
Railroad
tracks there and there's just a lot of, it would be a lot easier if they could find a piece of land that's just open, That's one, I told them to talk to Kelchers too. I don't know what Kelchers' future plan is, but they got a big space right across the road from that.
They downsized with all their big equipment is down to us.
It seems like that parking area is getting less, the big
Yeah.
area, and at one point they were looking to jump the creek to go to the cornfield, so that's what my suggestions were. So we'll just see what happens, and like I say, they were just looking, we said the board is open for changing setbacks and stuff like that. It's just what we can't do is change FEMA on their floodplain rule.
Yeah. Or move the river.
Right. Yeah, I
We
mean,
already did, we already did the creek.
yeah, we moved the creek already once, but
And moved it back.
yeah, that's right.
That's the second time. We moved it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, so it's still progressing. They've decided to do a little bit more engineering work. So we'll see. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good business to have here. All right. Future agenda items. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So.
Do I have a second? All right, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. So move. Good. Good meeting.
Do you think, or do you give me that other bill for Dane County?
Another one?
Mhm.
I can. I'm reading.
Talking about snow this, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh my God.